Hello, Junhyuk Lee from New Beginnings. Earlier I explained about RS-232 and RS-485. This time we will use the TTL to RS-485 converter from DeviceMart to communicate with RS-485 using an Arduino. Let's take a look at the converter right away. Let's take a look at the RS-485 converter. The RS-485 converter is the same as the TTL to USB converter used before. So, if you look here, you will see VCC, TXD, RXD, and GND. You need to connect this VCC to the board you want to connect to, matching the operating voltage it is compatible with. Both 5V and 3V. And similarly, connect the ground, kaino, to the ground of the board you want to connect here in order to properly establish the necessary connection. For TXD and RXD, just like when we used the TTL to USB converter before, connect TXD to the RXD of the Arduino and RXD to the TXD of the Arduino accurately, and here you can see that we will use pins 2 and 3, where pin 2 will be RXD and pin 3 will be TXD, so we will cross connect them. So you need to connect the RS-485 converter's RXD to pin 3 and TXD to pin 2. When you look at the RS-485, you can see that it is labeled A and B. Of course, there is also a ground part, but here you don't need to connect the ground. Just connect A and B when you have A, and B, you should connect the A line to the A of the RS-485 devices you want to communicate with, and the B line to the B of the other RS-485 devices. As you can see, I have already connected 3 Arduinos to the RS-485 converter. Each converter is connected as shown in the diagram, with each A line connected to the A line and each B line connected to the B line. Also, as a reference, if you look at this Arduino, we have connected a 3-color LED and a button, the method of connecting the buttons, and the 3-color LED. To each Arduino is the same. As you can see on the screen and in the circuit diagram, I have connected a 3-color LED and another button. And as you can clearly see below, pin 2 is utilized as RXD and pin 3 is utilized as TXD. So, pin 3, which is TXD, is therefore connected to RXD on the RS-485, and pin 2, which is RXD, is therefore connected to TXD on the RS-485. You can view a detailed circuit diagram or download a file by visiting this shortened URL below. When you see it in action, you will notice that although code remains same, the messages sent are slightly different. One sends number 0, another sends number 1, and last one sends number 2. I will explain these numbers again later. But when 0 gets sent, the other side receives 0 and displays red. When 1 gets sent, it displays green, and when 2 gets sent, it displays blue. So pressing button corresponding with red color at far left shows red, pressing middle button for green shows green, and pressing rightmost button shows blue. This way they communicate via bus system. Code written follows hereafter. You may also copy use code from shortened URL given below, of course. I'll explain differences first, but there's an ID section here. For this ID part, if you change some to 0, some to 1, and some to 2, 0 corresponds to red, 1 corresponds to green, and 2 corresponds to blue. We have set up the 3-color LED corresponding to RGB, set the output, and turned it off. Then we set pin 8 as a pull-up pin, and if pin 8 is pressed, if the button is pressed, it will send its own ID value to others. Since it sends its ID value to others, It will also display the color corresponding to that ID value on the 3-color LED. Here, it receives the data sent by the other party. If the data sent by the other party exists, it reads the byte, and if the byte value is 0, it is red. If it is 1, it is green, and if it is 2, it is blue. It is simply coded like this. It is almost the same as the code used for serial communication when using the USB to TTL to USB converter before. This time, we connected the RS-485 converter to the Arduino and communicated with RS-485. If there is an RS-485 system around, you can connect the A and B lines of that system to the A and B of the converter and communicate with the Arduino as we did this time. I will see you next time.